Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to another live stream. Last Cloudia. So, today, I kind of expected, well, and unexpected at the same time, but like I said, 2 weeks ago, I was saying it could be a collab in 2 weeks, or another, Descent of Heroes unit or permanent unit or something. Well, turns out, new collab today, pretty interesting, but here's the thing, about this collab, I don't know anything about it, but I do remember in the past that I had a look into it, because I was thinking of playing it, but I never actually played it, so I don't really know anything about it, but I do at least know it exists. Apparently it's more of a niche game, I don't think it's super popular, but some people are probably going to be excited with this collab, but at least with the people I've talked to, not that many people are that excited because it's not that well known compared to like other collabs, so yeah. But anyways, that's about the collab. Today, obviously, we're going to be doing everything we normally do, look at everything that's new in this update, all the news and stuff, and the new units, and there is also a new insight, so I definitely want to have a look at that as well, so just basically covering everything that's in this update, and we'll see how it goes. It should be pretty fun. So let's start this off by having a look at the news. There was a few issues earlier with connection, but it seems like they fixed that now, so that should be fine. Right, let's just have a quick look at everything that's in the maintenance notice, and then we'll start having a look at the new units, everything that's in part 1, and then part 2 is going to be next week. So you've got a week, and then you've got part 2, which is going to be next Thursday, so I'll be here next Thursday as well. And then 2 weeks after that's going to be the next unit, and then it's going to, quite soon there's going to be Christmas, so that should be fun. So definitely a lot of stuff. We got anniversary, we just had anniversary, and then we got this collab, and then we got Christmas coming up. So yeah, there's going to be a lot to save for limited stuff. So let's have a look at this first of all. Of course, we've got the collab. I don't know anything about it, like I said, but I've at least seen it, so I'm aware of it, that it exists, but I don't really know anything about it in general. I know it's a turn-based type of game series. They make a hell of a lot of these games. There's a lot. So Reisalin Stout is the first unit, and the Atelier Visor arc. We'll have a look at these two in a moment. Pretty interesting, but we'll have a look at those. That's going to be the focus after this. Then we got a new insight for Prince Gorm. I think this should be decent, but I think people are going to try and compare him to like Melzer, because he is a tank. So, and he also has a new armor in the Crimson Ore shop. So I definitely want to have a look at that later on. But he seems like a tank to like Melzer, but not. I don't think he's going to be as tanky as Melzer, and not as good, because he's also a gacha unit. So I would never really recommend to build him unless you already have him at plus 30, which if your account is pretty old, then you might have him at plus 30 already, but I'm going to have a look at him later on, because that should be interesting. And then obviously we have a new Histomia boss. I haven't done this yet because I haven't had time to yet. I've just been farming the event, and then we also had like an emergency maintenance going on, so haven't had the time to do this yet, but I definitely want to do this by myself later today, so then I can start farming this for the new accessory, because it seems pretty good. Gives non-attribute damage, so this is probably going to be the best accessory for non-attribute damage, which there aren't that many non-attribute damage dealers in the game, but it's still going to be good to aim towards getting that eventually, I think. So this one is Bayland, boss of the Council of 10, so this will be fun. Just make sure to do this if you care about this accessory anyways. It's more of a long-term like end-game grind multiplayer, pretty much. Calvin Trials is back. Make sure to clear this because you can get some crystals, at least up to 80 floors, because then you can get crystals from that, so make sure to do that. And then more daily free pulls, can't go wrong with that, but this time this one has UR arcs in it. It doesn't have any rate up or anything, so the chance of getting a UR arc is very small, but having a chance is better than nothing, right? So there's still one UR arc I'm missing from this, which is Solaris, and I would like to have it. It would be nice to get it for free, but it's just the chance of getting that specific one is very small. And then some stuff in the shop. So in the shop, these ones, I don't think I would ever recommend getting these unless you really want to. I mean, these are not that crazy, really. I don't really recommend getting any of those. I mean, the Hero Gacha tickets, I believe they guarantee one Descent of Heroes unit. Maybe that could be useful, but I don't really ever recommend buying those for paid crystals. But there are some other packs in the shop that is to do with the collab, so, and there's a few bug fixes as well. So that's everything in the maintenance, apart from the collab itself, which has a lot more stuff. So we got Cloudia, not Cloudia, but Cloudia. She's going to be in part 2, and I've heard some people that have played this game, apparently there's a chance she could be a support type unit. So if that's the case, she could be pretty good, but we have no idea what her kit and what she does yet. So I just recommend to wait and see for part 2 to see what she actually gives. That's always the case in collabs, is you've got plenty of time, so I would just recommend to wait for part 2 until you spend any crystals, because you can get more tickets as well from login event and stuff, and we don't know what this unit's going to be until next week. So same thing with the Arc, we'll have a look at that next week once that comes out. I'm hoping it's interesting, like some kind of a support, but we'll have to wait and see, I suppose. There is a chance there could be like some magic spells or something, because I've looked up this like game series and there are like certain magic spells and supported buffs, which Reisalin does have some of them, so it's pretty nice. And then we've got obviously some equipment. This staff is actually a spear, and it's pretty good for Reisalin if you get her, because it's basically made for her. It's the free-to-play equivalent of her paid staff, pretty much. Well, spear, staff spear. You get up to 53 spins, so you can get one free temple ticket if you just do the first event stage, and then you can get a couple more tickets from certain events, you know, rewards and missions, so you can get a decent amount today at least. Then some stamps and stuff, events, obviously. The main event itself seems kind of interesting, it's a little bit different, gathering materials and crafting things. It kind of reminds me of like the Dr. Stone collab in a way, but not as like in-depth as that was. So I think it's kind of interesting. Haven't done too much of it yet, but seems like a decent event. Unit test, play quest, and damage rankings, of course. Damage rankings is going to be on the 20th of November. For obviously both of collab units, Prince Gorm, DXR, should be funny. Prince Gorm's going to go terribly because he's mainly a tank, but it'll be funny to see those numbers anyways. Then, obviously paid equipments, Godforge for the event, equipments 2, not really much else. Collab challenges, pretty easy to do those, just make sure to do those. Login bonuses, you can get 3 more tickets in part 1 from here, and then 5 more in part 2, so definitely try and wait until you get every single possible ticket before spending your crystals. That is the smartest play. I know not everyone has the patience for that, but if you want to be the smartest possible and save every single crystal possible, then definitely just try to wait until you get every single possible ticket. That's what I definitely recommend doing. And I believe collabs last like 3 weeks total. Then some training promos, gachas themselves, of course. You've got part 1 gacha. There's nothing special here, it's just the normal gacha and the step up and the ticket gacha. There's nothing else. Same thing for part 2, which is going to be on the 13th. And then these, I think these, the small one, this one, the small set is actually pretty good because 300 paid crystals to get 5 tickets. I personally bought this one because it's pretty cheap. You're basically spending 300 paid crystals to get 5 pulls. So I consider that to be pretty good, and it's pretty cheap for paid crystals. So if you want any more, like just 5 more pulls for tickets and you have paid crystals, it might be worth doing. It's up to you, but I personally going to be buying these ones because they're very cheap for 5 pulls. It's not much, but it's something. And the other 2, I don't really recommend those because they're a lot more expensive in comparison to the first one, but the first one's pretty good. And it's got the same thing for part 2 as well, so there's a couple more ticket pulls you can get if you have some paid crystals. It's not that, you know, big of a deal, but it's a pretty good deal if you have paid crystals, and if you want to, then I would recommend a small pack, and that's it. You don't really need anything else, you don't need anything, but if you were to buy anything, that's the only one I'd pick. And that's basically everything in the maintenance notice so far. So I believe that's everything right now. Also, we got a rerun of Ruto, and Shiftlock Zeus is still going on. I've had a lot of fun with Shiftlock Zeus, if you couldn't tell, because mine's at plus 30 right now. And we'll go straight into the gachas and have a look at those units right now. But yeah, he's been great, honestly. I've been enjoying him a hell of a lot. And here's the thing, is he is also a light unit, and Riser is also a light unit, so they're both light units. Some people are going to be wondering which one should I get, and if I already have one, should I get the other one? Well, I can't really say that yet, but I think if you already have Shiftlock Zeus, then I think Riser becomes a lot less useful because they're both light damage dealers. Yes, they do play kind of different roles because she's a breaker, but let's have a look at her kit first of all. So, Reisalin Stout is the first unit for part 1. Looks great. This is like the waifu bait unit, pretty much, part 1. But yeah, looks great. Sniper type, so she's going to be a long range damage dealer. And quite interestingly, she is a breaker type unit, but we'll get into that once we see her traits and everything. But she's heavily, you know, focused around break. Stats are looking pretty nice. High strength, defense, mind look pretty good. Yeah, the 20k cap buff is pretty damn good, honestly. But you know, you got to think of like team synergies and stuff like that. I mean, if you're just using her for that 20k debuff, you got to remember it's only a single target debuff, so it's only against one specific enemy. So the boss, if you're just up against the boss, is fine. And also, if you're, let's say you're in Battlegraph Simulator, for instance. Battlegraph Simulator lasts, I think it lasts 3 minutes or 1.5 minutes, but I don't know why I forgot. It's because I haven't done it in a while, but the problem is the debuff is only going to last 40 seconds, right? And you can only use the debuff like twice until you break the enemy. Like, none of this is going to make sense unless you know the kit, so I should probably talk about that first. So, who's better for a new account? Well, the thing is, Demon Lilibet, her current banner is not on right now, so I personally prefer Shiftlock Zeus because he's better for endgame, but Lilibet is more newer player friendly. So, Reisalin's skills, let me bring up the hit counts and everything. So, skill 1, I've tried them out already because I really wanted to see. And skill 1, frontal long range light combo attack is pretty basic. This one is 8 hits, which is pretty good for a skill 1, but it's not very fast. It's nothing crazy really. I mean, I don't have anything else to say about her skill 1 other than you're probably not going to be using it very much because their skill 2 and skill 3 are a lot better. Yeah, Shift Loot is to every single enemy, and it's all damage cap. I mean, the attribute damage cap debuff does, you know, for Riser's definitely going to be good, but I'll talk about it once we get to it, I suppose. Skill 2, so I personally have tried a skill 2, and I think it's pretty damn good. This one is a medium area light combo attack that's also long range. This one is 15 hits. Doesn't sound anything crazy, but the one thing I really like about this skill is you can spam this quite fast, and the initial, like, however many hits, maybe like the first, I don't know, 12 hits or something like that, I don't know the exact hit counts, but the first certain amount of hits are a lot faster, and then there's like a delay, and then it does the rest of the hits. Usually I'm not a fan of that, but the difference with this unit and this skill 2 is the fact that when that delay happens, you can actually use another skill 2, so they kind of overlap, and this does make her skill 2 her best skill to spam for maximum DPS, because the fact that it's very fast in the initial hits and you can basically overlap the skills and keep spamming them is going to make it a very good skill 2 to spam non-stop. And I think if you can keep her skill 2 up and infinitely spam that with like an SCT battery unit in the team, I feel like it could be pretty decent DPS, especially if you're hitting enemies that are in break. She's going to do insane DPS, I think, if the enemy's in break. But that's another thing, is you've got to break the enemy, right? And if you don't break the enemy, then it's probably just going to be more of an average DPS. But again, we'll talk about that once we go over everything else in her kit first. And then skill 3, small area long range light combo attack around the target. It is kind of weird to see a small area on a skill 3, really. This one, 20 hits. I think it looks alright, and you can kind of overlap this one too, but there is a delay in the middle of the skill 3, and it does make it feel a hell of a lot slower, and this is definitely going to be her best skill for her breaking potential, because, you know, skill 3s have always had higher break than the other skills. That's just like, makes sense pretty much in all units. But yeah, you're basically going to be using skill 3 to break the boss, and then once the boss is in break, you're going to be using skill 2 non-stop, and that's kind of how her playstyle is going to be, and I think it could be pretty good as long as you have like an SCT battery unit in the team or something. It could be pretty decent. And then you got her special skill. I don't think this will be anything crazy, but it is a light combo attack to all enemies, so having a special that targets every single enemy is going to be quite nice. This one's only 52 hits, so it's not going to be anything crazy, but I suppose I'm guessing that she should be able to get more damage cap for her special in break, and that's probably going to be the time that you want to use it, but I don't think it's going to be anything crazy. So I kind of like her skills. I don't think they're going to be amazing, but I do think her skill 2 is going to be pretty damn strong, especially when the boss is in break, and her skill 3 could have been a bit faster. I don't like the delay, but it's still going to be a decent skill. So you're going to be using her skill 2 and 3 the most. You're probably not really going to be using her skill 1, honestly, because you want the most break, so for that reason you're going to want to use skill 3, and for the maximum DPS you're going to want to use skill 2, so I think could be pretty decent, but in comparison to the top DPS units, I have no idea because she just came out, so I don't have any testing or numbers to say anything on that, but they look good so far at least. Right, so now let's have a look at her traits, because this is always where you get a better idea of what this unit is trying to be, how she's going to play out. So, skill 1, well, trait 1 I mean, when equipped with only one weapon, so she's going to be a single whip damage dealer, increase like physical attack and special damage by 40% and damage cap by 50,000. Pretty basic, like basically every damage dealer has some trait like that. When equipped with only one weapon, so again, only one weapon, increase break by 250%. A lot of break, and that is the first of many skills that are going to have increased break or something to do with break. So if you can't really tell, yes, she is going to be a breaker unit, and it's a good and bad thing. I mean, breakers can be fun, but break is just such a niche mechanic that nobody really ever uses, that I don't think it's going to be... I can't imagine her being a meta unit in any way, because break is just so niche and no one uses it. But I say but because she does provide other stuff that could make up for being a break, and she could still be useful outside of that, but we'll see. So the start of the battle makes synthesis magic usable 2 times, so we'll go over that once we go over the skills. Basically they're her unique magic spells that she can cast, so basically you can only use them twice at the start of the battle until you break the enemy again. So whenever you put the enemy into break, synthesis magic can be used +1 more times, and it resets each wave. When unit puts an enemy into break recovery time plus 30%. So basically the enemy's going to recover, it's going to take longer for their break to recover, so that's always pretty useful. So you can definitely see a couple of effects here in the trait 1 tied to break already. So yeah, there's going to be a lot tied to break in this unit, for sure. And I think in her niche, she's probably going to be very good. And that's the thing though, in her niche, which is breaking, which not everyone really cares about or ever uses, so that's the problem there. But interesting so far, and we'll get back to this magic once we go over her passive skills. I mean, the more break recovery timer should stack with other effects, but I don't exactly know how it works, but I know it should. It's like a passive effect, it's not like a debuff or anything, so it should stack with everything else, but I don't know exactly how it works because I've never really used break units. I do have one really good breaking crest for a breaker unit, but I've never really used it. I tried it on Starn, but I just stopped using him because I don't really use breaker units, and you could just use a, you know, any other unit, any other damage dealer, and it could be just fine. So, yeah. There are other effects like arc traits and stuff that can also increase the, you know, duration of break pretty much, which could be nice, but we'll see. So, trait 2, when light skill / special attacking, stock action points and boost tactics level based on the total number of points stocked. So it's very complicated, but in simple terms, whenever you use a skill or your special, it increases the tactic level. Well, it increases your points, and then based on the amount of points you have, it increases your tactic level, which would increase skill and special damage cap. And damage cap to enemies that are in break based on the level. Maximum of damage cap plus 60,000 and 100,000 to enemies in break at level 3. So this is giving you a hell of a lot of damage cap. There's a lot of damage cap. 60,000 and 100,000 damage cap when they're in break. This 60,000, they don't have to be in break, so it's all, that's just all the time, right? All you got to do to get those increased damage cap is just keep spamming skills. So it should be pretty easy to get this effect, and it shouldn't take too long, I hope so. Yeah, she could work with Shifter Groove. I don't have her personally, so, but yeah, they're both breaker units. So having multiple breaker units in a breaker type team could be pretty good. But yeah, this trait 2 is only this effect of when using a skill or special, you basically increase your damage cap. That's like simple terms of it. So it's all this words, but basically what it means is you get more skill and special damage cap when you use more skills or specials. So yeah, and now let's go over to her passive skills. She has 3 unique magic spells, and this is what ties into her trait 1. So she has 3 magic spells for synthesis magic. First of all, she's got bombs, which I think this one's going to be her main debuff. This one's going to be the one that people are going to be excited about using. Main reason being, give one enemy a break taken plus 30% / attribute weakness damage taken plus 20% debuff, or 20,000 damage cap debuff, right? So obviously the best thing about this one is the 20,000 attribute weakness damage cap. This one is going to be great on basically every unit in the game if they can hit weakness. That's the thing, if they hit weakness you can get 20,000 more damage cap, and this is a debuff to that one specific enemy, so it is a bit more situational, but it's quite easy to take advantage of this as long as you're, you know, reducing the enemy weakness and hitting the weakness. It's going to be pretty damn good. And the break taken plus 30% debuff is also quite good as well, because this will, you know, buff herself too, to give her more break. And if you're using another breaker in the team as well as her, then that unit will also get more break. So basically your entire team will get more break against that one specific boss. So I think this could be a pretty damn good debuff spell. It's going to be the one you're going to be using the most, I think. And then magic tools, give a strength and intelligence plus 50% buff to all allies. That's pretty nice. If they don't already have EX, you know, Brave or Aura, then this is going to be great. And restore 1 SDT stock for all skills for all allies. That is also great too. Restore 1 SDT stock for all of your skills for every single ally in your team. This could be great. Now here's the question I have, is can you use this in PvP? Because if you could, it says battle start, make them usable twice. So I would imagine she could use them in PvP, and that could be funny. Because you can get her to spam this. Not non-stop, because you can only use it twice, but the thing is, it could be funny. And it could be nice. but I don't think she's definitely not a PvP unit, so I don't think it's definitely not going to work. And I'm just saying, it's a possibility that you could do something fun with that in PvP, but because you've got so much tied to break already, she's just more of a PvE focused unit, like heavily boss PvE focused unit because of break. But because of this one spell that increases SCT by everyone on the team, could potentially have some use there, I suppose. And then the last one, revive all incapacitated allies with 50% HP and give all allies a shield buff which has 10,000 durability. This one is also a time stop magic spell, so this will stop the time, and it's going to be quite useful if you're in a situation where most of your team is dead and she's the only one alive. But when is that ever going to happen? If you have Spirit Maiden Sarah in your team, then that's going to be never, really. So yeah, this isn't that useful, but it can be sometimes useful if you're in like a tricky situation, I suppose. But yeah, I think first one is definitely the best one and probably the most exciting one to use. And the second one has its, it's useful, but the SCT regen is good, but the problem is you can't spam it non-stop because you can only use it twice. Yeah, having a support type breaker unit is quite interesting, and she's a long range damage dealer too. So she is playing a role that we haven't really had before, being a breaker which is also long range and is a support at the same time. We haven't really had a unit like that in the past, so quite nice and unique for a unit, I have to say. So basically how these magic spells work is at the start of the battle you can only use any one of these twice, so it's not 2 per, you can only use one of them, like either one twice. So if you use bombs and then magic tools, for instance, you can't use any more unless you break the boss, right? And if you use 2 bombs debuffs, then you can't use any more of anything until you break the boss. So it's kind of, they try to balance it, and because these debuffs are definitely very powerful, and if you could keep spamming this one, for instance, that would be very overpowered. If you could think about it, if you could keep spamming this and give one SCT stock for everyone in your team every time you use this, that would be just utterly crazy. But you can only use it twice until you break the boss, and then you can start using them again until you break again. So I think you could make her a support, and as long as you're in a battle that lasts like 1.5 minutes or less, maybe 2 minutes, then this should be permanent on the boss, because you can inflict it once for 40 seconds, then once it's just about to run out, you inflict it again, and then the time, you should be able to kill the enemy before the second time that debuff runs out. Otherwise, there's probably better choices, but for things like, I don't know, time trials that have one specific boss, or like raid bosses, yeah, definitely raid bosses in particular, that you're hitting weakness of, this is going to be amazing for those. So I do consider this to be quite a nice debuff spell for sure. So yeah, this is going to be amazing for bosses. It's going to be really good, and definitely one of the highest damage caps, debuffs, or one of the highest ways to get an increase of damage cap in the game currently. And what I mean by that is just by a unit in the team. So usually, I'll give you an example. That is, Spirit Maiden Sarah gives everyone in the team basically 10,000 damage cap if you have her paid staff. And usually 10,000 is like the average. We've got Reese, who's a collab unit who also gives 10,000 physical damage cap, and you've got Shifler Luch, who gives 10,000 damage cap debuff to all the enemies. So this is a lot higher than normal. It is a bit more, difficult to take advantage of because it's only single target and it's weakness, but it's just a very strong debuff. So I would definitely recommend using this if you get her. It's going to be great for, even if you don't use her as a damage dealer or a breaker, you can just use her as a full support and make her a SCT battery unit / support with just using this and not anything else. That could be pretty good. Just for the damage cap alone already makes her useful. That's the thing. Now let's have a look at her passive skills. So attack up max, heroism up max, real armor, brute shield 2. Huh. I think this is the first time we've seen shield 2, so that makes me think they're definitely going to be starting to release like human shield 2 and stuff like that on future units, like divinity shield 2. And imagine having like a divinity shield 2 plus 1 plus god shield 1 and 2. It's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot of mitigation to god types for sure. It'll be a hell of a lot. It's probably going to happen in the future, honestly. Auto Grand Brave, High Protection, Awaken 2, Pride 2. Lenius type character, well, no, there's no, they're completely different. She's not even a mage, she's a physical damage dealer breaker type unit. So, if you have Brute Shield and B Shield, yeah, they definitely stack, because they're not like, you know, buff icons or anything, so any passive type effect in the game should be stackable. So things like God Shield 1 and 2, they stack with each other, and they're definitely recommended to stack because you get even more mitigation, and it's definitely a good thing for like PvP in general. Especially if you're up against a Shift Loxaeus, for instance, putting on God Shield 1 and 2 is just a very useful thing to have on your Melzer, because then Melzer can have Divinity Shield and God Shield 1 and 2, it's pretty good. Silver Lining, nice to have this. Light High Drive, no other light drive skills, but it's alright. Light Attack Raise 5. Holy Chance 3 is even more damage and damage cap to enemies that are in break. Okay. Maglion is very nice because she is a long range damage dealer for every single one of her skills. So definitely a must have on a long range damage dealer, because this is an insane damage boost for long range damage dealers. It's very good. You can even use this on Shift Loxaeus, by the way, for his random God's Judgment attack, and it will proc that, so it will activate on that, which is kind of funny. Shockwave 2, very nice to have this because it's not a teachable skill, but in general it's not very good for PvE because you rarely have bosses that guard, so not that great for PvE honestly, but it's nice to have it at least. Favoured Sword Form 2, this will stack with Favoured Sword, the base form of Favoured Sword, so very nice to have this one. More damage and damage cap, physical attacks can be very good. Two-handed Spear, and Spear boost 4, so more damage and damage cap. Definitely make sure to use a single spear, even if it's terrible. Make sure you get the spear from the event and just use that one, because that's going to be just fine and perfect for her, honestly. Spear Mega Boost, take less physical damage on this too, it's pretty nice. Close Boost. Only Close Boost a bit weird, like usually you'll see Close Mega Boost or Giga Boost or something, but no, just Close Boosts. Kind of basic, really. Special Boost 3, Quick Trigger's nice. And now we get on to more break skills right here, so it's quite a good amount of break skills. So Break Boost 5 is even more damage and damage cap to enemies in break. And then Destroyer, even more break, and this is not a learnable skill yet. So it is very nice to have this, and you can also put on the Breaker skill, which is a learnable skill, on top of this, and that's going to be more break, so that's going to be nice. And One Blade Breaker 3, again, a skill that is not learnable, so it's very nice to have this in the unit's kit already. And there is one of these that is learnable, which is One Blade Breaker 1, and you can also equip this on this unit, so that's 100% more break from that skill if you have it, because it's from an SSR arc, so hopefully. And then Limit Breaker, even more break. And then whenever unit puts enemy into break, boost physical damage cap, maximum 9,000 at 3 times. You're never going to be doing it 3 times in one battle, it's really not going to happen. Giant Killing 5, even more damage and damage cap to bosses, and Giant Shield 2, so you can definitely tell she's more of like a boss killer type unit, but she doesn't have any slayers yet. Does she have like no slayers? None at all? Because that's a bit weird. Like, usually units have some kind of slayers, but I haven't seen any yet. Concentration, reduce fake time. Okay. And then we get on to her unique skills down here. So the first one, battle start, and every 20 seconds restore 1 SCT stock for 1 random skill. Basically a better quick trigger, and this will stack with it, so you're basically getting 2 random SCT stocks for 1 skill, or just any skill. It's going to be any random skill stock, so that's going to be nice. And then every 20 seconds you're going to get a random skill stock for one of your skills too, so quite a nice skill to have for SCT regen for sure. When equipped with only 1 weapon, increase break by 200%, it's quite a lot, and light damage by 20%, and light damage capped by 25,000. And if you have a spear equipped, you get 35% more strength. Very good skill. Make sure you have a spear and only 1 weapon. That's pretty much all you need to do for this unit, is equip 1 spear and you're fine. But this skill's very good. It's very good skill for break, damage cap, more strength. It's going to be great. Because end game bosses do have a lot of stats like defense, so having high strength is quite important against those specific bosses at end game. So Sick enhanced skills down here. Special boost, so more damage and damage cap to her special. Spear mastery, more damage and damage cap, so 15,000 more damage cap here is pretty nice. So when you have a light weapon equipped, more damage and damage cap. So make sure you have a light spear if you have one, which you should, because make sure to do the event, that's all you need. Yeah, the animations are... I do like the animations, but yeah, it does feel like sometimes the animations just don't happen and you just get nothing but dupes, and it does feel bad when that happens. But I have heard that you can still get the new things even when you don't get the animation, apparently. It's probably just less likely to happen, but it can still happen apparently. I haven't seen it myself yet, I think. That might have happened with Shiftlock's AS, I don't know, because I skipped the animation, so I couldn't tell really. When physically attacking, boost damage cap based on distance, 12,000 more damage cap. And then more damage cap to enemies in break, 40,000. And then when unit puts enemy into break, restore 1 ACT stock for all of your skills. It's quite nice. Giant killing 2, more damage and damage cap to bosses, and giant shield, 20% less damage from bosses. How many tickets are they giving out? They said 50 total, so I think like 25 for each banner, maybe a bit more. Yeah, a bit more, so maybe close, between 25 and 30 I think, for each banner, because there are also 5 tickets that we haven't gotten yet, which we should be able to get from the repost promos and stuff, so make sure to repost and follow on whatever that stuff is, so then we can get 5 more tickets for part 1 and part 2. So that in total it should be about 25-ish, maybe between 25 and 30 around, that free-to-play players can get, hopefully. So, in looking at what she has and her entire kit, she does seem pretty good, but quite niche because she's a breaker unit, and breaker units are basically never used, you know. Yeah, temple ticket in the event, just make sure to do that one. So I think in her niche, when she breaks a boss, she's going to do pretty well and she's going to be very good. If you don't break the boss, you are losing out on basically most of her kits. If you don't break at all, then she probably isn't worth using unless you're using her as a support just for this damage cap taken debuff. So even if you're not using her as a breaker and you can't break the boss, she still has some, you know, use because of this debuff and, you know, some supporting buffs here. So I suppose even if you can't break the boss, or even if you don't, she could still be useful. But a lot of her damage and damage cap is tied to hitting bosses and breaking the boss. So I don't recommend using her at all against normal enemies. I only recommend using her against bosses, and against bosses she should be pretty good, but at endgame at least, breaking has never really been that much of a focus, and it's never really been a meta thing, because you've never really needed to break a boss in like any content really ever, and you've never needed to bring in a breaker unit on purpose, right? So I think she is the type of unit that's going to be very fun, and I can see that she does have, you know, some useful things like these debuffs and buffs are going to be quite useful. And as a breaker unit, she's going to be quite strong as a breaker unit. And we rarely get breaker units. She's going to be quite fun to use. But the problem is, we had Shift Log Zeus recently 2 weeks ago, and I personally have him at plus 30 already. And if you already have Shift Log Zeus, they are both light units. So I feel like if you have Shift Log Zeus, you probably don't need her. And that is what I'm thinking right now, is I already have Shift Log Zeus at plus 30. I don't really need this unit. That's kind of what I'm thinking right now. But even if you have Shift Log Zeus, she does have some use and she can be fun. So I say she's a unit that's going to be fun, and if you like her, it's up to you if you want to get or not. She's going to be a strong unit in her niche, which is breaking bosses. She's going to be quite strong at that. But apart from that, she does have a, debuff. But apart from, those stuff, she isn't a unit you need at all. But I feel like probably a good amount of players are going to pull for her because she, she's a great collab unit. A lot of people may like this character in general, and breaker units can be quite fun. And she does have this unique debuff for 20,000 damage cap. And she's a breaker, so I feel like some people are going to be pulling for this unit because she's fun, and she does provide that damage cap debuff. So that's up to you. I think if you get her, she's definitely going to be useful, and I can see she does provide, a decent amount to your account. If you don't have Shift Log Zeus, then she does probably provide more value because she is a light damage dealer. So if you don't already have a light damage dealer, then yeah, she's going to be probably the best light damage dealer that you can currently get outside of Shift Log Zeus, which is currently going on. So between her and Shift Log Zeus, which one would I pick is the question. Well, this is a collab, so I would highly prioritize this collab instead of Shift Log Zeus. Even though Shift Log Zeus is going to be more meta, I think Reisalin has slightly more support potential because of her debuff, which provides 20,000 weakness damage cap. Compared to Lelouch, is, that's the thing though, is they are still completely different units, and Lelouch is still going to be a better support overall. But if you just care about damage cap and nothing else, then technically Reisalin does provide more because she has more damage cap, right? So if you only just care about the damage cap and that's it, she's probably going to be slightly better, because more damage cap equals, more damage, faster winning, But Shift Lelouch is just better of a unit in general, and they're completely different units at the end of the day, so they can't really be compared. And you know what's funny? They can actually work in the same team. So if you have both, that's great. Just put them in the same team. You can even make like a light focused team if you want to, with Reisalin, Shift Lelouch, Spirit Rain Sarah. If you can fit in a fourth unit, then you put in Shift Log Zeus, and there you go, you got a light team, and that could be pretty damn good. But for meta DPS, it's a different story, because yes, it sounds like it's going to be fun, it's going to have a nice synergy, but is it going to be super meta? I don't think so, no, because she's a breaker type unit. So if you're just looking for the next best, DPS that's going to dethrone everything, or is like on Joshua or Callan or Shaltir level of DPS, you're not going to be looking for that here, because she's a breaker and a support. So it kind of depends on how you look at it, really. Like, do you see her as a damage dealer, or do you see her as a support, or do you see her as both at the same time? Really up to you, but I do think she's going to be quite nice, and I'm personally not going to be pulling for her just because I don't feel like she's necessary. I do feel like she'll be fun, and she does have her, debuff for 20,000 damage cap, so I think she's going to be good, but because of things coming up in like part 2 and Christmas, there's definitely stuff to save for, and I don't feel like she's super necessary, so I'm going to be skipping this one. Not completely, but I will be doing some summons in a bit later on. Is it a good time to start? Well, basically any time is a good time to start. Either if you join during an anniversary or a collab, they're the perfect times to start. And what's funny is we literally just had an anniversary a couple of weeks ago, and now is a collab, so it's still a good time to reroll if you haven't. If you're just, you know, one random person that decided not to play during the anniversary and always just not even heard of this game and just seen this collab right now, is like, oh, I like this collab, I want to play the game. Sure, you can reroll now if you want to, but technically the best time to reroll in a collab is as soon as part 2 starts, because you get the part 2 tickets as well. We can also see the information on that. So now let's have a look at the arc next. So this arc is definitely made for, you know, Reisalin herself, as you can see from the traits. Let's start with that first of all. So light skill damage 40% more. That's going to be great for basically any light damage unit, I suppose. Why the Japanese version give free step up banner, I don't know. I don't know anything of what happens in Japan, honestly. They should be exactly the same as what we have. Break 100%, this is going to be great. It's technically not the best for break, because we do actually have an SSR arc, which I'll have a look at afterwards, which has like 125% break or something. But it's still very good, because you're getting light skill damage and break, which is going to be perfect for Reisalin. It would be great. Skill damage capture of enemies in break plus 10,000. Very good, of course, for the unit themselves, so it's going to be a great synergy having both at the same time. It's going to be quite nice. Battle start, cut damage taken based on number of living human type allies. Maximum minus 15%. Interesting, I suppose. Probably never going to be using this trait just for that though. I mean, I suppose I can have a look at the Japan videos and stuff just to check it out, but they should have similar type of... Actually, I remember something. You remember... I'm just going to mention it quickly, is I remember that the, you know, gachas themselves on the Japan version had like small little clips on the gacha screen of the unit skills and stuff. I remember that from like a long time ago when I used to watch them a little bit. So passive skills, there's a good amount of passive skills here because you've got 3 collab limited skills on this arc, so let's hope they're good. Spear boost we've seen before, so nothing crazy. Carefully but boldly. Movement speed -1 but increased skill break by 30%, and when equipped with only one weapon, 30% more break. So here's the thing with this skill. 30% more break is very small. It's not much of a difference really. And then 30% even more break, so you're getting 60% break, but less movement speed, which doesn't matter because it's a long range damage dealer. You know, yeah, this is going to be great. If you want maximum break, this is going to be quite useful, but I don't think it's going to be a massive difference, because it's just going to be giving you 30% break on a dual wield unit, and if you're single wield, it's going to give you 60%, so it's not too much of a difference, right? But yes, it's going to be quite nice for the unit themselves, right? And you can definitely see a you know, pattern going on here, where the trait is specifically for the units, as well as some of these learnable skills. So they kind of want you to have the unit and the arc at the same time to, you know, make her reach her maximum potential, which they definitely do want you to do that, but I don't recommend it. Holy Raid, we've seen this on, you know, I think it's on a UR arc, but it is a very nice skill to have for sure. Light attack damage buff, this one's very good. These skills, these raid skills are very strong because it's light attack damage, 20% 3SC, very good. This skill, anything interesting to do, I just don't see the point in this one, honestly. So, intelligence and mind -20%, but gradually boost strength and defense over time, maximum at 40 seconds. Strength and defense increased by 20%. I don't think it's worth using ever. You know why? Because 8 SC, and 8 is just too expensive. If you just only care about the strength, you're basically getting 20% strength after 40 seconds with 8 SC. It's not worth using ever. I don't think I would ever use this one. It's actually a bad skill because 8 SC is just too expensive. I mean, I suppose if you're in a battle that's going to last a long time and you desperately need strength and defense for whatever niche reason, then I suppose it could be good in that situation. But it is so niche and expensive that I'm just never gonna use it ever. Even if I were to have it, I would just ignore it because it's just bad. So yeah, I mean technically, if you want maximum strength, then it's another skill for more strength, but 20% more strength for 8SC is just bad, and you even have to wait 40 seconds afterwards. It's just not worth it. And if you're using a unit that scales off of intelligence and strength, then they're just not even worth using because you're losing intelligence. So yeah, it's not the best. Now this one is probably the best one in here. Alchemic Talent. This one's going to be quite good. Nothing crazy, but when using an attack skill, use 3% of your max MP to increase damage cap by 5,000 for 5 SC, basically giving you 5,000 damage cap. Obviously this is going to be amazing on your damage dealers, especially dual wield damage dealers like Callan. If you have Callan or Joshua, then it's going to be great. It doesn't really work with you know, Susanu, which I still pronounced it that way by the way, because that arc removes your MP, so it doesn't really synergize with that. But if you're using Icy Guardian on a dual wield unit, then Alchemic Talent is going to be a very strong skill for the damage cap. So I do feel like this will be a very good skill on your dual wield damage dealers that use Icy Guardian, because 5,000 damage cap as long as you have MP. You could also put on Pose of Glory, it's actually Pose of Honor, which gives you MP when you kill an enemy. So that basically solves your MP issues unless you're up against a boss. You know, so I think it's going to be very good for damage cap. It's not a must-have, you don't need it, but if you were to have it, it would be a very nice one to have for sure, that you're probably going to be using on a good amount of your damage dealers if you want to, you know, reach even higher damage cap or end game. Then it's going to be quite nice. So I do consider that to be a very good skill. Then Auto High Vitality. Nothing crazy really. So I think these learnable skills, they're pretty good, but they're not, you know, they're nothing crazy that you must have, right? You don't need them. But that's like most skills in general is, yeah, they're good, but do you actually need it? No. It would just be nice to have it. Is it worth chasing for it? Definitely not. But if you get it, it's going to be quite good. Even if you don't get Ryza herself at units, then you can still take advantage of this arc because of Alchemic Talents. And even though, you know, you can't take advantage of this break skill if you don't have the unit, you can still use Holy Raid as well on your other light damage dealers. So I can definitely see some use for this arc for sure. Now let's have a look at the Arcade reward. This one is an accessory. You know, this is one of those accessories where I have absolutely no idea until we get to see the actual chances of this when Lake uploads them to Goldmine. That's like the only thing. So MP Defense Mind, chance to nullify physical and magic damage taken based on, well, damage taken from brute type enemies. Here's the problem though. What is the chance? That's the big problem. Like, we need to know the chance. Is it a high chance? Is it like 1%? Who knows? Nobody knows yet. So we don't even know if this accessory is any good because we don't even know the chance of nullifying the damage taken. So I can't even tell you if this is a good accessory or not because I don't even know the chance right now. But all I can say is, once it gets added to Goldmine, have a look at that, see what the chance is. If it's anywhere like 20% or something, it could be alright, I suppose. But if it's like 10%, it's probably just bad of a trait, honestly. Because you're just much better off having permanent mitigation instead of a chance to nullify damage, right? But I suppose another positive thing is you get curse and illness resistance as well. So it could be alright, I suppose. But it's nothing crazy. Definitely the best thing about this arc is the learnable skills, they're quite good. And the arc trait is going to be quite nice for Ryza. But apart from that, I mean, I suppose you could use it on other light units. So I do consider it to be quite a good one. So yeah, that's pretty good. Best collab ever. Well, I don't know what I would rate collabs, but my favourite ones, at least, were like the Near collab, and Devil May Cry was pretty fun, and Dr. Stone, those kind of ones. Those collabs are pretty great. I don't think that many people are excited about this one unless they are a fan of the franchise, but I do think it's going to be a fun collab, at least so far. So that is everything in part 1. Honestly, not bad. I think from the unit and the arc, they both have some use for like anyone's account because of like the extra damage caps and stuff like that. I think they're both going to be quite nice to have. So getting at least one of them would be a good idea probably. And that is when I get into the rabbit hole of I just want to keep pulling until I got one of them and I end up not getting any, so I end up going to pity and it goes wrong. You know, let's hope that doesn't happen, okay? So let's have a look at her paid equipment next, because I think they are quite interesting. She has obviously a weapon, spear, and clothes. Have a look at the weapon first of all. HP, strength, and defense. Actually gets a lot more stats at level 40. Cool, great. So what is the trait on this one? I have to say, even before saying this trait is pretty damn good. And it's probably going to be the one that we're going to pick. Battle start, synthesis magic can be used one more time. Great. So, you know, her synthesis magic that you can only use twice at start of battle, well now you can use it 3 times if you have this weapon. Wow. That means you can have that 20,000 damage cap debuff on for another 40 seconds if you get this weapon. Pay to win much? It's not that big of a deal really, unless you're in, you know, very long battles. But I still think it's, you know, quite useful. It's quite strong, honestly. Even in PvP, now you can technically use the SCT skill 3 times instead of 2. That would be funny. When equipped with only one weapon, break is increased by 200%. A lot of break. It's a lot of break for a weapon. And like physical damage and special damage, increased by 30%, damage cap by 5,000. So if you can't already tell, yes, this will be our best weapon. It's going to be very good. And if you can get this, it's going to be great. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be so good because the extra synthesis magic that you can use is going to be quite nice. Because then you can use it 3 times to start a battle if you want to. And then 200% break is a lot of break. Compared to her free-to-play option, which is 50% break from the event weapon spear, it is quite a big difference in break. I mean, it's not necessary at all, but it is, you know, a noticeable difference. And you also get 30% damage and 5,000 damage cap, so it's definitely going to be a very strong one for sure. You don't need it, but you're probably going to notice a difference when you're using it. That's what I can say for sure. And then this one is good as well, but this is more just for, you know, survivability and not as useful in my opinion. Continuous high magic barrier effect. Great. Take 35% less damage from magic attacks, and you take 15% less damage from everything. And as well as that, special damage taken from bosses minus 25%. So you can see this is giving a hell of a lot of damage mitigation. Is it even necessary? Is it even worth getting this just for the mitigation when you could get the spear instead? I don't think so. I think the spear's better. Light physical attack, damage cap 2 bosses increased by 5,000, so you are getting some damage cap here too, and some attribute resistance and line resistance, but I definitely get the spear. It's not even a competition at this point. If you're getting one of them, just get the spear. It's a hell of a lot better than the clothes. You don't even need these, because this is mostly damage mitigation, and it's not that important in PvE. As long as you're using a, you know, Spirit Maiden Sarah for instance, then you should be fine, and you can always debuff and use buffs as well. So this isn't really necessary, and you're going to get a lot more benefit out of this spear than the clothes. So if you were to pick one, just get this spear. You don't even need the other one, honestly. So if I were to pick one, get the spear. Honestly, you don't need any of them. Of course, you don't need any of them, but this would be the one I would pick. As free to play, free-to-play players can just use the light staff, the light spear that is in the event, because that one is pretty good for her too, gives you some damage and 50% break, so that's just a good alternative, and you could just do fine with that. That's still going to be pretty good. So yeah, that is everything in regards to part 1 with the unit and the arc. Let me just have a quick look at the alchemy, and then I do want to do some summons, but let's hope it goes well. This is the spear, by the way, which is called a staff. It's a staff, which is a spear, but it's a staff, but it's a spear. It's funny. It gives you 50% break, 10% like physical damage. Yeah, it's decent, you know. It's not bad. It's not the best, but it's probably your best option for a light spear. Because let me just show you something real quick. If I go to my weapons and have a look at light spears, how many do I actually have on this account? Light spears, 1, which is trash. So you can see the severe lack of light spears, like there's none. So you're basically going to be using the event spear or her page. Those are your only 2 options basically. Or if you have other collab options or stuff like that, then you might have some more options than me, but I don't have anything else. So, and the reason why you want to use a light spear in particular is because she does have a skill that increases damage cap by 15,000, I believe, when you have a light spear, so definitely make sure to have a light spear if possible. It was the one down here, holy weapon, 20% damage, 15,000 damage cap, so make sure to have a light weapon, a light spear, so that's going to be quite important. Now, we'll leave that there for the moment in regards to part 1, and we'll come back to her in a moment to try her out in the showcase, because that should be fun. So I definitely want to try out her skills and everything there in a bit. But for right now, I do want to do some summons, and we'll see how it goes and hope we get the units or the arc, because they both seem pretty good honestly and would be fun. But I'm not going to be pulling super hard on this one. Would it be worth it to make her dual wield? I don't even want to consider that to be an option, because she has so much in a kit that is tied to single wield that I don't think it's even worth dual wielding. In like many years ago maybe, but because she is now, when equipped with only one weapon, equipped only 250% breaks, it's not worth dual wielding at all. Like, I know you get a lot of benefit for break and stuff when dual wielding, but it's just single wield. There's no reason at all to dual wield on this unit, because you've got a hell of a lot single wield. There's just no reason. Only a crazy person would dual wield, because also you've got 200% more break here when only one weapon is equipped, and this one. So 200% plus another 200% plus another 250%. So you get the idea. You just never dual wield on this unit, because yeah, you should have like no break at all if you dual wield. So yeah. Right, so the current banners we have going on is quite a decent amount. Yeah, I mean, the only reasoning I can think of is maybe this collab is something that the Japan people like, or here's the most likely thing, is this collab is a lot cheaper to do because it's more of a niche, you know, game series. So that's what I'm thinking. Yes, they could do, you know, bigger collabs, but this isn't the most popular game in the world, so they can't always afford giant collabs like Sonic all the time, you know. But things like this are still fun. I can't complain about them, and the only thing I can say is at least it's not like Grand Summoners where they have a collab like every single time, all the time, every time. You know, it's not as bad as that. Right, so let's start doing some summons now, I suppose. I just want to check. I've used all these from the events. Didn't really get anything there. I have this amount of tickets. Now, how did I get these tickets? Temples from the events. These tickets were from the event as well, apart from 5 of those tickets. 5 of the tickets I got from this shop for the 300 paid crystals. Everything else was from the event and login events and stuff. So this one gives 5 tickets. That's all I got. So we might as well use those tickets first, and then I'll do step 1 or lap 1. And if we don't get anything, I might do a couple singles, but I'm not going to be going super hard because there's going to be more tickets later on. Let's hope we can get some good stuff at least. Let's do the first 8, and then see how that goes, I suppose. I'm hoping I get them both, or at least one of them, but I don't... It's not something I need. I'm really hoping we see some like good animations and stuff going on today, because in Shiftlog Zeus's stream it was very bad, it was terrible, so I do deserve some luck coming up very soon, hopefully. But it's definitely not going to be anything in here, is there? 2 animations, 3 animations. There is a red. I don't know if you can have an extra animation there, I don't know, but this is likely to be a dupe because there was no... Yeah, like I said. It's more likely to be a dupe if you don't get any crazy animations. That's like the unfortunate thing, but apparently there's still a chance this could be new, even if you don't get the animations. So, first temple, and then we got another temple to get after this. We need to see a different background, like the blue background I haven't seen yet. And we also need to see a gobble or something happening, because that just brings a lot more luck. Okay, nothing in there, kind of expected honestly, because only one animation is not going to do anything. I mean, there can still be random reds, but it's probably never going to be anything new with how animations work. Yeah, I would honestly like to get some stuff from part 1, but I've been grinding quite a bit over the past week to get some of these crystals. Yeah, they did another quick maintenance for like half an hour, and that fixed it, so it should be fine by now. Here's the final temple that I'm going to be doing. Let's hope there's something in here. There's probably not, but you never know, at least. Rarely get anything from tickets. Background is normal, so it's probably not going to be anything unless there's a blue. I don't have any hope. Unless there's any animations going on here. Probably not. 1, 2... Nah, there's not going to be anything there. There's a red, but no extra animation on top of that, so it's probably going to be a dupe of something, that's my guess. Yeah, of course. That's kind of how these films are going to go. Terrible. I don't need any dupes. Dupes are useless. Right, I'm going to do the lap 1, and then probably try and do a couple singles, and we'll see how it goes, I suppose. I'm going to try to snipe one of the 2 if possible, but I'm not going to pity, because I have Shiftlog Zeus. Yeah, this one's a skip, there's going to be nothing in there. See? I have Shiftlog Zeus, so I technically don't need this unit, but she would be a nice support. And the Arc would be nice too, so I'm gonna do a couple. I mean, yeah, the collabs have been alright in my opinion. It depends how you think of it. Still no different background, that's disappointing. It's just a blue again, okay, this one's just as bad as the other one. It's not gonna be any res in there either. But the Trails in the Sky collab had good units, right? And some collabs can be interesting with like their units, kits and arcs and stuff like that. But yeah, Joshua's great. Come on, I want a different background. Thank you. That doesn't mean anything, all that means is there a red in there. There's a guaranteed red in here. That's all it means. But I need to see like Lilahar or whatever. 400 light cap. That's pretty nice. We need to see more animations going on. There's not enough animations. No, it's just gonna be a dupe. That's just gonna be a dupe. Yeah, I told you. Sad. I mean, Callan is a lot more difficult to kind of use in comparison to Joshua, in a way. And I say that because Callan's DPS highly, you know, relies on her skill 3. Yeah, so this game well, Last Cloudia seems to have a lot of more niche, you know, collabs. I'm going to be doing a couple more single pulls. I'm going to try and get maybe a few reds, and then we'll see if we can hopefully snipe something off of this banner, but I'm not going to go super hard on this, because I do want to save a part 2 just in case, and there's a couple more tickets later on, so I'm only going to watch if it looks promising. I will be able to get a ticket from the event, the medals training space. I'm going to be using my medals on these single tickets, because I'm not going to be going to 100, I think. Yeah, I don't see myself going to 100, so I'm just going to be doing these single tickets, just to try and squeeze out as many pulls as I can. Yeah, I mean... it's still going to be an interesting collab, I think, but definitely not as hype as some of the other ones that we've had in the past. Yeah, Dr. Stone hasn't had a rerun in a long time. Okay, I'm gonna have to go into free crystals, which I really didn't want to do. I mean, I could just stop now, but I'm not like that. So I'm just gonna do a couple singles and hope we get a couple reds, maybe like 2 reds or something, and we'll call it there. Because I do want to save the part 2 and Christmas, because I don't have anything from there. So we'll do a few of these, but I'm not gonna go super hard, because I said I wasn't gonna do too many summers at the beginning. So let's just look for like good animations and stuff. That's the only thing I'm gonna look for. Yeah, Street Fighter hasn't had a rerun yet. And ReZero hasn't had a rerun yet either. Would be nice. And it would also be nice to get something from this banner, please. Oh. The Rhea never means anything. I'm gonna watch it anyways. But it's gonna stay gold, that's what I think. Even if it were to go to red, which it doesn't mean there's gonna be something new, because I haven't seen any crazy animations, so it's a dupe. See, I told you. That's the one thing I just don't feel like based on the animations, it just feels underwhelming, you know, like you get that type of animation and you're like, I know it's a red, but does it matter because the animations were terrible? This is the only issue. Come on, I'd like to see something from this, if possible. If I get the unit or the art, then I'll call that a stopping point, 100%, but it's probably not even going to happen. Nothing from tickets. Yeah, tickets rarely give anything to me, honestly. It's just... yeah, if you look at the Gacha Revenue website, you can see they make a decent amount. Just a gold. Okay. Well... I have 10 medals, so if I do 5 more singles, I'll get 1 more ticket. Yeah, I know. I mean, compared to what the animations used to be, I do like the new animations, but the problem is, when you don't get the animations, that's the only thing I don't like. is it just seems like the animations are not very common. And I know it's because you didn't get the new thing, so you're not going to get the animation. Well, maybe my luck has just been terrible since the whole animations have been changed, really. Probably, apart from that one Demon Lilibet banner, which I got an interesting animation. But that's the only time I've ever got one good animation. Everything else has just been this, you know. So, come on, I want a different background or something, you know. Really? A blue into a red that didn't matter because it was a dupe anyways. Like, I want to see the blue background because, like, the blue background is pretty good. Should be able to get one more ticket. And I might do a couple more singles, but I'm not going to go for too long because I did want to save the part 2. And also Christmas banners too. And there are a couple more tickets in the login and stuff. Yeah, I mean, the rates are... I wish the rates were better, but it's not the worst thing in the world. I just think the main problem is the off-banner rates being, you know, quite high. Like, if you get a red, you're more likely to get something off-banner. There's no, like, 50-50 system or anything like other games. But if you think about it, technically 0.8 plus another 0.8 is 1.6%, which is not bad, right? Compared to other gacha games, which are like 1% for the unit or something like that, I'm just saying. But 1.6%, if you look at it like that, it's not bad. I just seem to get screwed a lot of the time. This one ticket's obviously going to be a nothing. Great. Wow. I'm going to do a few more singles, okay? And if I do 15 and get that one more ticket, I'm probably going to call it there, because I don't want to do too many. Because I really did want to save, just in case for part 2. And I technically don't need the unit. I mean, the unit and the arc, they would both be nice to have, so that's why I'm doing this. It's not as bad as Grand Summoners. Yeah, Grand Summoners, don't get me started, because Grand Summoners have a lot of things going wrong with that. I don't play it myself, but I've at least looked at it and tried it, but it's just not good. Oh, come off it. The thing is, I'm getting a decent amount of reds, but every single red today has been a dupe. And that's what's sad. Yeah, if you haven't heard, Grand Summoners just kind of ruined it for free-to-play players right now. Yeah, there's a constant collab all the time. I mean, you could argue that Last Cloudia also has a lot of collabs, but it does, just not as much as Grand Summoners, which has it like all the time. All the time. The gameplay isn't even that fun to me, honestly. Like, Last Cloudia is a lot more interactive, a lot more interesting gameplay, you know. It's the main reason why I like playing this. And I just like pixel art in general. Come on, we need to get something new very soon. I would like that to be the case, because I don't want to be here too long. Because I would like to go to the showcase in a moment. And it would be nice to get something new from this banner, if possible, because I don't want to completely skip, because I do, after going through the unit and the arc, I can definitely see value from both of them. At least something. So I'd like to try and snipe one of the two if possible, but it seems like it's probably not happening today, is it? No, it's not. Definitely not. This is bad. This is just as bad as Shiftlog Zayas' banner. Unless... Nope. See, people can still show up when there's no one showing up, that's the thing. gonna see what the animations look like and then skip if it's bad. There's a red. I'm just gonna watch it anyways, but there's a dupe, as you know. See, I could tell it was a dupe. I wasn't even like, ooh, was it gonna be new? But no, the animations told me it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be a dupe. There's no like suspense of it could be new, it could not, because you know based off the animations that it's gonna be bad. You already know it because we. This is bad. This is terrible. I feel like it doesn't even matter who shows up anymore unless you get certain animations. Okay, 4 more singles and I'll get that 1 more single ticket, which is going to mean nothing. Yeah, the gameplay just being auto, I tried the gameplay, it was fun for like 2 minutes, and then I lost interest. And then I was like, oh, how do people play this as their main game when it's just auto and press a couple buttons? Oh, come off it. It's Tharia. No, it's a blue. It's going to be bad. In the past, Tharia would have been a good sign, but now it seems like it doesn't matter anymore. If you get a Tharia, it seems like she isn't, you know, that important anymore. You need like a different background, or a gold ray, or, you know, a gobble. Those are kind of the signs you look for. It's bad. Come on. No, it's just a blue. It's just as bad. I should get that ticket now. I've been here too long. There's 1 more ticket. I might do a couple more. Maybe try and get 1 more red or something, and then we'll call it there. Probably. Because I could also do the daily paid single pulls, which I think I'm going to do that, honestly. So I think I'm going to do this ticket. Maybe a few more, and then we'll see how it goes. No different background. That's a skip because it's a blue. Aha, it's terrible. This is awful. I wish I could see some different animation. It's been a while. I think I've only had one. I've only had a different animation once in my life. I mean, I know it's still technically new, but come on. Because I see constant screenshots of other people getting, like, different backgrounds and stuff happening, and I'm like, I never get any of that. They're having a party over there when I'm here with my, you know, nothing, simple background going on. Yeah, the beach is fine. I get the beach sometimes, but the beach doesn't really matter. The reason why I say it doesn't matter is because all it does is guarantee a red. And most of the time when I've gotten a beach, it's been a dupe red. And I don't think I've ever had a new red with a beach background. Ever. So the beach doesn't really give me hope. Unless there ends up being some extra animation on top of that. LR on a beach. I wish that could be me. But no. I'm still stuck here. With Lilibet. And blues. Yeah. Come on. The rear. Nope, it's just a blues. Skippy. Told ya. Why? Why is this so bad? Why is this so bad? I mean, I know I'm doing singles, I get it, but it has no difference from temples. It really doesn't. Nope. I'm gonna try and get one more red. If we... either we get one more red or the ticket, and then we'll probably try stopping or summoning, because I don't want to be here all day. And then we'll start moving on to the showcase in a moment. Because I'm not going to be going super hard on this banner. Like I said, even though I didn't even plan to do this many summons to begin with, it's just going to happen. Nope. It was terrible. I did want to save for part 2. I mean, we do get 5 more tickets from the promo, so should probably wait for that, honestly, instead of doing this, but I'm not a sane person. Next red is where I'm stopping. I'm gonna put my foot down and say that whatever the next red is, no matter what it is, I'm not gonna be spending any more crystals on this banner. Yeah, best Breaker, well, Breaker is just very niche. I think she's gonna be good and fun. I'm not really doing this just for her, really. I'm doing it for, like, her supportive debuff for the damage caps, and also the limited arc's pretty good. So I see value from both of them, honestly. So when I see banners that have both good things in, I don't mind putting a few crystals into them to try and snipe one of the two. It's gold, so I want to watch it, but I'm gonna skip it. Yeah, I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. I still haven't seen like a Lilahar or anything happen yet. Okay, one single will give me the ticket. A single ticket. It's probably not going to matter because there's going to be nothing in there anyways, but... Come on, I just need one red. If you just give me a beach or something, it doesn't matter. It's bad. Yeah, I think the break system's interesting, but they haven't refined it enough. I think they introduced it like when the game came out as a system, and they like didn't touch it for a very long time, and now is kind of trapped in spaghetti code that they don't really want to fix. So yeah, I don't know if they're ever gonna refine the break mechanic really. And this single ticket is another bunch of nothing. How great. Okay. I'm gonna do a couple more with single pulls and try and get one more red. And we'll be stopping very soon, okay? And then we'll go over to the showcase after this in a moment. I think the main reason why the break mechanic isn't really that great is because when you put the enemy into break, the animation, the timer still goes down during the animation. It kind of, you know, ruins the whole point of break. Like, yeah, I mean, against some bosses it can be useful, but even so, you don't even have to use it. You're never forced to break anything. These are terrible. These pulls are bad. Why did I summon on this banner? Is the new unit trash? Well, no. She's good. But not super meta. I think she'll be good and fun. But is she worth this amount of crystals that I'm spending right now? No. Is the answer to that. Definitely not. But the arc, I honestly, I think the arc would be better, to have long-term dander units. And now I said that, I bet if I were to get something new in this banner, it's not going to be the Arc. But I'm not even going to get something new, that's the trick. That's the thing. I don't even see a red. I said I was going to get one more red and then stop, but there hasn't even been a red ever since I've said that. That's the problem. Yeah, she's going to be pretty nice for increasing damage caps. Ugh. This is bad. I grinded all of these crystals, and I'm wasting them, and it's giving me nothing. It's when it feels bad. It's like you put all your effort to getting these crystals, and then just get nothing. I would do a 10 pull, but I can't. I just can't, because I know 10 pull could technically get... I should probably just not pull anymore, and just stop caring about the next red, because it's not happening, it's just not gonna happen. It doesn't exist. The reds are gone. What is it? 3% plus another 5% for reds. It doesn't exist anymore in this banner. They have disappeared. Out the window. Same thing with my tickets. And my sanity. Which seems to happen a lot these days. Okay. This is the final pull. I'm not doing any more of it after this, okay? I ain't doing any more. I'm done now. So I'm just gonna watch this. And then get that last ticket. Use it. And then that's it. And then we'll wait for the rest of the tickets, because I did say I wasn't gonna do 100 summons. And I'm not doing that. It's not happening. Final ticket. And after that, I'm just going to be saving for part 2, I think. Because that was, 15 times 5. Quick math. Is 75. So, yeah, that was terrible. Last pull of the day, and then let's go over to the showcase. And I also have to remember to look at Insight Gorm, because Insight Gorm also came out today that I want to have a look at. And of course, the Singapore is going to be the absolute nothing burger that you've ever seen in your entire life. Filled with nothing. Emptiness. Maybe some despair and sadness in there too. That's what it feels like to me. Alright, I'm done with this banner. For today anyways. I don't want to do any more. I do want to do any more desperately, but I'm not. Because I don't want to waste crystals. And that was a severe waste of my time and my crystals, so I'm just going to be waiting for more tickets later on. I wish I could say that I got the Arc, but no. Okay, I suppose that's fine, because I wanted to go to Steam anyways, so it doesn't matter. There we go. I think the Arc would have been pretty nice. I would have liked that, honestly. Because it has the 5,000 damage cap skill, and I think that would be pretty good to have. That's probably like the main use. The main use I can see out from that Arc, honestly, but... Yeah, I'm gonna wait for part 2 now. Because you never know, maybe part 2 could be super broken. Who knows? Also, they've updated the premium last Cloudia pass to give more crystals and a God Relic prism, so that's nice. Yeah, I only use Emulator so I can access the paid crystals, so I can do the step gacha, because on Steam, as you can see, it's literally £100 to get a large pack, and I ain't doing that. A Nox emulator for Android, been using it for many years. We'll probably turn down the volume on Steam because it's a bit loud compared to the emulator. I'm gonna do that. Now it's gonna be too quiet, isn't it? That's fine. It's alright. Right, so let's try out some units. Yeah, well, I've already done the tower up to 70. I just skipped it. Yeah, there's still a couple more crystals I can get there, but I grinded about 20 or 30,000 over the past 2 weeks. Also, from leveling up 2 units to level 100, because I got a couple units. Like, the base form of Lily I managed to get from some free pulls, so I got her to level 100, got some crystals, and oh yeah, present box, by the way. Unit damage rankings, 1,000 more crystals. Time trials, 3,000 more crystals. Both rank 6, it was pretty nice. Some more tickets, we used those earlier. I wish those tickets gave something good, but no. Alright, I'm gonna stop being depressed about summons now and start having a look at the new units. So what we're gonna do now, go into the unit test play quest, trying to go more in depth of this unit, look at her skills, see how she plays out in the unit test play quest, and then after that I also want to have a look at the new insight for Prince Gorm. There isn't going to be much to showcase there because he's mainly a tank, so it's kind of difficult to showcase that, but I still want to cover that just to like see everything that he has in his kit and if it's going to be any good. It's kind of hard to tell, but let's try out Reisalin Stout first. So apparently they put Arc in this team too. The main reason why they did this is because they're comparing Riser's break to Arc's break. So base skills, by the way, she doesn't have her paid weapon, which is interesting, because usually they have both of their paid equipments, or all of their paid equipments in here, but she has her event weapon instead of her paid weapon, which is weird, but it does kind of make it a bit more of a fair showcase, I suppose. And then Arc does have both of his paid, which can be gotten from the Crimson Ore shop, so it's not that big of a deal. It's kind of a good showcase. So base skills on both units, and by the way, the Arc trait on this one gives 100% break, but so does this one. So it's a pretty fair comparison on both of these units, because both of these Arc give 100% break. Arc has his paid weapons, but Reisalin does not. So let's try this out. Right, so I am going to have a look at her supported buffs and stuff first, and then her skills, normal attacks, that stuff. But I do have a good idea of how you're going to be using this unit already. So she is a long-range damage dealer, so of course she's going to have a long-range normal attack. It's kind of basic, because it is a basic attack. And then try out these, because why not? So Synthesis Bombs is the debuff to a single target, which does give boost break taken and attribute weakness damage cap taken. So those two debuff icons, and these are icons we rarely see, so they're very, very unique. So they will stack with everything else as long as it's not the exact same icon as this, but we can rarely get the same icon as this, so I don't think it's even accessible outside of this unit currently, maybe in the future, but these are the debuffs that it gives. It's not like its own unique debuff that, you know. And then magic tools, obviously will give her that strength and intelligence buff, and SCT regen that you can't see, and now you can't use any more because now you need to break the boss. So that is the thing, is you get 2 at the start of the battle, and then you can't use any more until you break the boss. So that's kind of how these work. You're mainly going to be using the bombs magic spell. You're going to be using that the most. You're probably not going to be using the other 2 that often. I'd probably just recommend using this and not even equipping the other 2 just so Auto doesn't use it by accident. So let's try out her skills now. So skill 1 is not my favourite, it's probably the least interesting one. Because it's quite slow, and if I try and spam it, yeah, it's just kind of bad, you know. It's 8 hits, which is fine, but it's just too slow, it's not very good. So then we get into the more interesting skills. Stack with Mia's debuff, yeah, you can definitely do that, that'll be interesting. Her skill 2, also that debuff ran out by the way. Her skill 2 is where it gets a lot more interesting. This is my favourite skill on her so far. So you can see it does 12 hits really fast, and then it does an extra 3 hits afterwards. Well, guess what? You can spam this one very well. It's very good, you see. It's very good. And that's without that debuff, because that debuff ran out. But her skill 2 is definitely my favourite skill. You can spam that, and by the time you've used your second skill 2, the first skill 2 is still going off doing the last 3 hits, so it technically overlaps. So the fact that there's a delay and the last 3 hits are kind of slow doesn't really matter, because you can overlap those skill 2s and keep spamming them non-stop, so I definitely like that one. It's definitely going to be a very good one for sure. And then her skill 3 is going to be the main one you're going to be using for her break. So skill 3 is not as fast as the skill 2, but it does have good break if you look at the break bar. It's pretty decent. I mean, the delay in the middle kind of kills it, but if I try spamming it, basically it uses another skill 3 immediately after the last one ends, but it's not very fast in comparison to this. Yeah, I really like the skill 2. The skill 3 is, you're just going to be using it for breaking, honestly. The skill 2 is going to be your main skill you're going to be spamming, but I just wish there wasn't stupid delays in between skills all the time, because the delays are just not fun. Like, you could have, you know, do your hits, and then when you're in between the delay, you could get flinched, and then the rest of your skill is useless because you got flinched at the skill. That's the problem. Yeah, hi. So I think what you're going to be doing, also this is the medicine magic spell by the way, is Time Stop. Revives everyone and gives this 10,000 durability shield, which nullifies knockback, so basically you don't get flinch from it. It's pretty good. But you're only going to be using that to revive, I think. So this is how I would ideally use her. So in a perfect situation, I would probably use this first on the boss, and then start using spamming her skill 3 until the boss is broken, right? And then after that, I would just keep spamming skill 2 non-stop. And that's going to be your best DPS. 42,000. Yeah, she does get gradually more damage cap throughout the battle because she gets more, you know, of her trait too, she gets more damage cap. Yeah, I'm hoping they don't do a Balin incident again, but you never know. Also, I want to try out her special as well, because I haven't seen that yet. And also, here's kind of what they want you to do. I'm going to show you this quickly. So if I use this debuff, and then use her skill 3 to see how much break one skill 3 does. It does about this much, right? It does about this much. And then if I go and do the same thing but with Arc skill 3 instead, then you can kind of see the comparison between her skill 3 and Arc's break. You can see it's definitely lower than Reisalin's skill 3 was, so she was doing more break. Obviously the main difference being Arc's skill 3 is a lot faster, so you can probably get more break out from Arc's skill because of his skills being a lot faster, and you can spam them. But the break in total from each skill, from just one skill, is going to be higher on, you know, Reisalin, so... Let's try her special out. After I cast this, I'm going to use the special. Well, I don't think that was even hitting damage cap, was it? Or the damage caps were just weird, I don't... Yeah, what's with the weird damage caps? Where'd they come from? Oh yeah, because of distance, duh. Of course. Let me just use it one more time. Yeah, I don't see that hitting damage cap right now. Don't think. Yeah, it's weird. So you can't really tell how much her special is going to be doing in here, since it's not even hitting damage cap in here. So yeah, it's kind of hard to showcase that in here. Now let's go in here again, and I suppose I want to try out like some different combinations of her skills. Like, can you combo her skills into each other or something? Would you be wanting to do that to begin with? Also, I could try one more thing, is the difference between with the debuff and without the debuff. I mean, you can definitely notice a difference. This is without the debuff. Then I do it again and apply the debuff this time. And then you can see there's going to be quite a good difference. Yeah, it's quite a big difference, honestly. And if you, because it's a debuff, which is 30% more break taken, right? It should be like multiplicative or whatever, however it works. But it should be like multiplying your current like total break by 30% technically. So it's not just adding 30%. Because it's a debuff like this, it's going to be multiplying all of your break by 30%. So it ends up being a lot more than just a plus 30% increase. So once you add on, you know, more learnable skills for more break and her paid weapon, stuff like that, this debuff ends up becoming even more useful for her own break. And on other units too, same scenario, is because it's a break taken debuff, it's going to multiply everything that you already have. So stack up as much break as possible, and then you get more out of this debuff, which is nice. So let's just try this. I mean, that doesn't really work. I still think spamming her skill 2 is going to be the best thing, because there's like no downtime whatsoever. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just think her skill 2 is way better than all of her other skills. Her skill 2 is just so much better than a skill 1 and skill 3. Because it's so much faster. There's like no reason to use the skill 1. I'm just not really a fan of the skill 1, it's just too slow. I'll do this one more time, I suppose, just try and clear this and then we'll leave it there for the unit, but for a breaker, I think she's going to be pretty good. Her break in comparison to arc, you can kind of see it here. Her break can be higher, but I feel like arc might still be able to output break faster. That's just my guess so far. But yeah, like I said earlier, what you're going to want to do with this unit is you're going to be wanting to use a skill 3 to break the enemy, and then start spamming skill 2, I think. I mean, you could just continuously spam skill 2, but it's a lot less break than a skill 3. Like, there's a big difference in break value between skill 3 and skill 2, so... The skill 2 is just so good. I just like that so much. It's a lot better. I feel like she's going to be pretty good. I could try just clearing this as fast as I can, just to see the science. Fine, I'll do that once. Okay, I'm just gonna go in, try and clear it as fast as I can, with probably no debuffs or anything. I should probably still inflict the debuffs, probably going to be beneficial to do that. But let's just do debuff, and then... Okay. And then just try and kill this guy as fast as I can. Then spam skill 2. I didn't mean to use that button. Whatever. Yeah, that's a bit better. Still not damage cap though, but... That's a lot more damage cap. 470,000. I mean, this is base kit too, but you also got to remember the boss is in break. So if you can't already tell, she's going to do insane damage cap during break. When a boss is in break, increase her damage cap by even further. It's going to be quite insane, honestly. She could probably reach up to 500,000 damage cap during break. That could be quite insane. Once she's fully built, that is. And the break can be even higher than this. So I do think as a breaker, she has some potential. For sure. But when is a breaker unit ever necessary? Never, that's the problem. But even if you're not using her as a breaker, or you're just using her as a damage dealer or a support, I can see some, you know, useful stuff here. Like, of course, I've mentioned this many times now, but this bombs debuff, 20,000 damage cap taken debuff is probably my favourite thing on this unit. If she didn't have this, then I would probably not be interested in this unit in the slightest. But the fact that she does have this debuff makes her a lot more interesting to me. But I do think she's going to be quite good. Not super meta, but in PvE I do think if you can break a boss, she's going to be one of the better damage dealers. Especially a breaker, she can be the best breaker probably. Maybe not the highest break ever, but as a damage dealer she should be pretty damn good, so I think she'll be fun. She's definitely going to be a decent unit for sure. I can see it. But not something you necessarily need, especially if you already have existing options, like Shift Log Zeus for instance, or if you're looking for a support, there are existing options, but Riser provides slightly more damage cap in comparison to other units. I mean, Shift Log Zeus gives 20,000 damage cap to God type light units technically because of his charisma plus the debuff. It would give Reisalin plus a God mimicry and then put on Shift Log Zeus in the team, and that will give her 20,000 more damage cap. Could be pretty fun. But I'm just thinking about it. So that is everything in regards to part 1 units for the moment. But before we finish it there, I do want to have a look at the new Insight unit today as well. So let's have a look at Prince Gorm's Insight, because maybe this could be pretty good. I think there is some potential here, mostly for PvP. So let's have a look at this. I haven't tried this yet, because he's probably not going to do any damage whatsoever because he's a tank. So yeah, but I just want to have a look at, you know, his skills and traits and everything that he's getting from Insight, and just have a look at his overall kit and then try him out and see if he's any good. But he's mostly going to be for PvP, so can't really get a good test here, but I at least want to see how much mitigation and stuff he has in his kit right now. So his traits, they were not changed, but I just want to show them just in case you were not aware of what they did. And I'm just reminding myself as well, because I've never used this unit in my life. So chance to nullify physical damage when near death, consume 20% of max MP to very greatly recover HP. That could be interesting. So if you can get enough MP, you very greatly recover HP when near death. It could be nice, as long as you can get the MP back. Start the battle if unit is incapacitated or revived with 100% HP, doesn't really matter at all. Physical attack damage doesn't matter because he's a tank. When a party member other than this unit is near death, this unit gains defense and mind plus 50% and enemy attention drawn plus 2. I assume those are buffs and not just passive buffs. So it's probably a buff icon, same thing as Fort. I would assume so. But nothing crazy for traits, they're the same, but just wanted to point them out at least. And now, vulnerable skills is the most important thing on this unit. So a lot of defense, HP, defense mind. I don't think it's going to be a Melzer incident. I don't think it's going to be like that. But let's see. Guard, Vigilance, Heal Guard, Grand Guard, EX Guard. Guard Impact. Royal Armor. Night Zone 2 is nice because more enemy attention drawn, plus 2, and take less frontal physical damage. Auto Grand Fort. Auto High Protection, Auto High Magic Barrier. I know those are new, they're pretty good. Allure, Armor High Boosting, Giga Boost, take less damage and more defense. Cloak Majesty 2 is quite nice. Triflanks, less anti-type and critical and weakness damage taken. I do like this one. He has Gold Rush 4, which this might be the highest Gold Rush skill we have right now. I don't know, I don't remember, but it doesn't even matter because auto farming exists. And if you're auto farming, you're going to have infinite gold anyway, so it doesn't really matter as much anymore. In the past, this would have been a very good skill to have, but because auto farming exists, it doesn't matter anymore. So, less physical damage taken and less damage taken. Now, insight skills down here, let's hope these are good. Non-attribute damage, damage cap, less magic damage taken. Now, here's the two interesting ones. 50% less ice damage taken and 50% less light damage taken. You may think, because of this, can he tank Shift Loxaeus? Probably not, because this by itself is a lot of mitigation. But if you're taking like a bunch of damage already, cutting that by 50% isn't going to save your life, is it? Probably not, unless he's guarding, then maybe, but it is a significant damage mitigation skill, and if you have him at plus 30 and his insight, stats, then it could be decent. Insight skill stocks for all of his skills doesn't really matter too much for a tank, really. And then boosts fire resistance by 10, light resistance by 20, dark resistance by 5, illness, curse, stun resistance, and then some more interesting ones down here. So this will stack with Magic Guard because it's a transcend skill, so technically a different skill. When Guard is equipped, MP recovers when guarding. So this will stack with Magic Guard. So that's even more MP when you're guarding, which could be funny. And I know it technically synergizes with his trait 1 for consuming MP to very greatly recover HP and surviving, Or just use the skill that cuts MP but take 50% less physical damage, because that skill's pretty damn good. Max Guard, at max HP, guard rate is increased by 100%. I don't know why this exists, because for a tank, when are you going to be at max HP? I mean, you want to survive, right? And guard rate at max HP really doesn't help in the slightest. It like helps you against the first hit, I suppose. So I guess in that situation it could be good. So I guess it's not bad. But if you get hit by a skill when you're not at max HP, then this doesn't do much. But if you have a healer in the team, it could be pretty nice, I suppose. More guard rate. 100% sounds like a lot, but it's probably not. It's probably not a lot, I would guess. When guarding and taking lethal damage, survival 1 HP. This is an interesting thing. So when you're guarding, he basically can't die ever. So if he's guarding, he can't die. That's the thing. So he heavily relies on guard, if you can see. So if he's guarding, he can also get special gauge plus 6% when you're entering guard as well. So, if you remember or don't remember, he charges his special very quickly, which recovers HP to all allies, by the way. He was like the fastest special charge, unit in the game when he came out, and has been for a long time. He charges very quickly, so that does help. But yeah, I can definitely, if you use him, let's say, I had an idea, is if you use him with Shiflenius in Arena, that's going to be a hell of a lot of special regen, because Shiflenius has double hit magic. So that's going to be a lot of special regen for this guy. Yeah, it's going to heal for a lot. It's basically going to make everyone full HP guaranteed. Could be quite nice. Now the rest of the skills, this one's interesting. Actually, you know what? Because his special charges quickly, this one gives all allies a skill damage 50% buff. So there might be some PvP stuff going on here. Maybe. When enemies near edge of field, more skill damage, doesn't really matter for a tank. And then chance to resist flinch from magic attacks. I am seeing a problem that he's missing. But before I say that, he has a new paid armor which should be right here. Physical and magic damage taken minus 35%. When guarding, take 20% less damage. Battle start special gauge increased by 30% and won't faint from enemy attacks. So here's the thing, right? Yeah, this is pretty damn good. This is amazing. This is 8,000 Crimson Ore, by the way, to get this. And Battle Start means even at the start of Arena and Guild Battles you get special gauge 30% and you won't faint. But guess what he's still missing? I am not seeing nullify piercing effects. That is the one problem I'm seeing right now, is he doesn't have nullify piercing, and that is a big thing that a tank should be having, is they should have nullify piercing. That's very important, but he doesn't have that, so that's gonna be his weakness, is units that have piercing, or just just piercing in general in like Arena, or people that are using shield render are probably going to counter this unit, and that's the problem. So he is a soldier type, so he's technically not a knight type. He doesn't count as a knight type. So that's another interesting thing. So I suppose I can see some good things and some bad things with this unit, and I can't say if he's going to be any good until he gets tested. And I'm not going to be the one to test him because I don't have him at plus 30. But if I did have him at plus 30 on this account, I would have definitely wanted to try him out and build him for Arena. But because I don't have him at plus 30, it's probably not worth my materials, probably not worth investing on him, because you're probably going to need a lot of mitigation to help survive. but I can see some, you know, potential here. But I think he heavily relies on guarding and ice and light damage. And if you're up against an enemy that can pierce your defense and also nullify guarding and is also not ice or light, then I think he's just gonna die very quickly. So yeah, I think he's probably gonna be for guild battles, honestly. I can see that. But I was considering, what if, like I mentioned already, what if you use him with other units just to charge his special up? So you could have like him as the main tank and try get him to charge his special as fast as possible, so then he can give the skill damage buff to your main damage dealer, and I'm going to say Shiftlock Zeus. So you use Shiftlock Zeus with this Gorm, and then someone like that can charge his special very quickly, just something like that I'm thinking of, and then he could give a skill damage buff to all allies. I'm just trying to think of a synergy right here. It could be some potential, and maybe you can make him not even the main Allure tank. You can make him like a, I don't know, like a support type unit that can tank magic, but it's probably not gonna work, is it? I mean, maybe. I don't know. He's definitely gonna need a lot more testing, but in his base kit, I think is decent. But in base kit alone is not enough to make him good, unfortunately. And he's missing piercing, you know, nil. He can't nullify piercing. So I think he's going to need a lot to work. And just quickly before we do the showcase, I'm going to show you his best friend, and that is this arc, because nullify defense piercing effects from enemies. So this solves that problem. And it also gives all enemies a physical damage taken minus 20% debuff. So yeah, this on Prince Gorm is going to be quite good, because nullifying piercing is going to be quite a, you know, useful thing to have. So if you have that arc, probably use it on him and hope that it works. But let's go back into this. I do want to try him out as a damage dealer as well, but don't expect too much because he's mainly a tank like Melzer. But he's not going to be as good as Melzer in my opinion. I still think Melzer's going to be more tanky, but he should be pretty good. If you get his insight, defense and HP stats, he could be pretty good. And you equip that Asuratron arc for defense, you know, nullify defense piercing, he could be pretty good. And I can definitely see some whales or just some veteran players that have him at plus 30 with this armor. They could do pretty well with him, I think. I can't say how well yet. He doesn't have any like lock-on effect skills like Ruto or anything like that. That's like one downside that he doesn't have. So let's see what his stats look like in battle. Nothing crazy. Defense could have been a lot higher. And don't expect much from his skills either, because he's a tank. So he's not going to be doing any damage really. But they're not bad. This isn't long range, by the way, is still got to be in range of the enemy. But it's pretty fast. You could probably make him a damage dealer, but I can't imagine him doing very much. He's going to need a hell of a lot of damage. And he's non-attribute, by the way. He's a non-attribute damage dealer. He's non-attribute tank. And then his skill 2 is a close the gap. Honestly, you're probably going to be using his skill 2 for PvP because it's a close the gap skill. And it's going to be the most annoying one to use. Kind of like Jian's skill 2. Reminds me of that. Kinda. Or just any close the gap skill 2. It's pretty nice. It's not going to be very fast, but you're probably going to be using that on auto for PvP. And then his skill 3 is probably going to be his fastest one. Yeah, it's just a giant slash, but they're fast, but he's a tank. So what you're gonna expect? No damage. Another special, as you know, gonna heal everything. Okay, now with the skill damage buff that he got from using his special, he can now hit damage cap, which as you can see is very low, but he's a tank. So, I don't know what you're expecting, but maybe you can dual wield, probably not, I doubt. Well, it's at least amusing, but it's not going to be doing very much for a damage dealer. But yeah, his main role is going to be a tank. You can't really showcase a tank in the unit test playquest. It just showcases his damage, which isn't his main focus. So, yeah. I suppose I'll do that one more time, and then we'll leave it there, because there isn't really too much to show with this unit, considering he's a tank. But I think he's going to have some potential for PvP. So you use your special first, that will give him the skill damage buff. Yeah, I've seen the Histomia accessory, I definitely want to do that. The enemy is so high up in the air I can't even hit him anymore. It's funny. Come back down here. Now go back up there. Yeah, this just takes many years to kill this guy, because Gorm's not a damage dealer. And the skill damage buff is gone, he used special again. That's basically how you're going to be doing it, is cycling his special. Also, this special does proc Spirit Breath constantly, so it's pretty nice for that. Yeah, we're definitely going to need to see how he performs in PvP to get a proper understanding of how good he's going to be, but right now, can't say. But as a tank, there's some potential, I think. I don't think it's going to be as good as Melza. Melza's still the best tank in the game, which is funny, because she's free. And you can even get her plus 30 for free with just friend points. But yeah, Spirit Breath procs from every heal. So from every heal from his special, it's going to proc Spirit Breath and activate that. So it can be some kind of SCT battery unit in a way, but not really, because it doesn't actually work. But that does give some more usability or in PvP, because that will give SCT to your team if they've got Spirit Breath, so I suppose it's not bad. So I can definitely see some good stuff for PvP, but if you don't care about PvP, just ignore him, and probably only build him for PvP after some other people have tested him first, because it's not worth wasting your materials on him yet. I would recommend to wait for other people unless you really want to build him right now. It's up to you, but yeah, no, that's about it. His resistances, by the way, are looking alright. Those are his improved resistances with his insight skills, boosting fire, light and dark. So now he's got 30, but that's because he's also got these accessories. These two increase earth and the light and dark, so base light resistance will be 20. It's not that high, but that means at base he does have minus 30 earth resistance, so earth is his weakness for some reason. But yeah, that's pretty much everything with Gorm. There isn't really too much else to show with him. Mine's at plus 10 right now, so I'm not going to be building him because I just don't think it's worth it for me. If I had him at plus 30, I would consider it. But I guess I'm not going to be doing that. I don't think I have any permanent units of plus 30. I've only got Melzer. Yeah, it's like plus 8. It's kind of like my average. Yeah, if I was playing for many years, I would probably have them at plus 30, but why do I have so many Master Thief Robins? Why do I have so many Blaze Blade Shins and only one? The game is weird. Yeah, he's not like Melzer because he's actually a gacha unit. And he is an old, super old permanent unit. So he's in the gacha, you can get him from tickets. In here somewhere. Well, obviously I can't see that because I'm on Steam, but you get it. He's going to be in there. You can't get his prisms anywhere because Melzer, it was a different story because she was not a gacha unit. She was given out for free for everyone, so they put her prisms in the friend point trading space. But they don't have prisms for anyone else, just these units and Melzer. So you can't get his prism from anywhere, which sucks. So I do think that means it's not worth building Prince Gorm unless you have him at plus 30 already from having a old account. So if you've been able to get him at plus 30 just from playing for this long, then probably try it. Up to you if you want to do that. Yeah, well, Barcelo's always going to be terrible. No matter what they do, they can't save him. Nothing's going to save him at all. I think that's everything for today. Also, Varn is also a breaker, so technically he could work his insight with Riser, so having multiple breakers, like base Mia, because of her, debuff that someone mentioned earlier, which is pretty nice. Lightning Rod. Yeah. So I think that's everything for today. I do want to do Guild Battle right now. I think I'm just going to be farming the events in the meantime, and waiting for part 2, which is going to be next Thursday, and I'll be back next Thursday. But we're not ending just yet. I just wanted to say that before we got into the conclusion right now. And conclusion for today, I do think this collab's going to be quite fun. I do like that they've added the collab music into the game, and I'm always a fan of that because it just makes you feel like more immersive into the collab, if you get what I mean. Like, you can get more of a feel of the collab itself when you can hear the actual music from the game. So I do like that they've added the music because it just has a different feel to it in collabs. I just like that. And now in regards to the banners themselves, in part 1, I do think this part 1 is pretty solid because you've got quite an interesting unit. She is a breaker, which is very niche, but she, apart from that, she does have some quite nice supportive buffs, and this is her main one, giving 20,000 damage cap debuff, well, weakness damage cap debuff to one enemy, and this will be to any damage dealer in your team, because this is debuffing the enemy, so any unit in your team that is hitting that enemy that has this debuff is going to get more damage cap. So I do consider her to be quite a good support just because of this 20,000 damage cap debuff. And you could technically make her like a SCT battery unit or something. Maybe that could work because she's long range. Maybe potentially you can make her dual wield and give her elements like Cactus Hammer and that kind of stuff, and try and make her an element unit or support, something like that, just so that you can make her fill multiple roles and take advantage of this at the same time. But her main role with her kit is definitely going to be a breaker and support with these three here. So I do think she's going to be quite useful, because 20,000 damage cap is one of the highest damage cap increases from a unit's kit that we have access to in the game. So I do consider this to be probably one of the main selling points of this unit. If she didn't have this, she would be it would be a lot of a different story, I think. But she is going to be probably the best breaker in the game, and as a damage dealer, I think she should be pretty good as a damage dealer, especially if you can break the boss. She's going to be able to do a hell of a lot of damage from her skill 2 against bosses that are in break. So I do think it's going to be quite nice there. But break is a very niche mechanic that not many players use, and it's just never really necessary to use that mechanic in general. So it's up to you if you want to summon for this unit or not. I think she's going to be nice as a support. She doesn't have anything super game changing, that's the thing. And if you already have Shiftlock Zeus, then it's probably less necessary to get the unit. She is different than Shiftlock Zeus because she's a breaker, and she has the more supportive buffs like the 20,000 damage cap debuff, so a lot different. And if you have Lelouch, having Shift Lelouch, you can have them both in the same team. There's kind of a synergy there because Shift Lelouch can, reduce light resistance, and you can use Riser in the same team, so it's up to you. Shift Lelouch is still going to be the better support overall, but Reisalin has multiple roles. Like, she is going to be the damage dealer, but if you're not using her as a damage dealer, you could make her a support. So you've got choices with this unit, really, and I do like that about this unit, is she's not just a damage dealer that's boring. No, she provides more than just damage, so quite nice. Now this arc, I think this one's pretty solid too, but the main thing about this arc are the learnable skills, and my favourite one is definitely Alchemic Talents, because this on any damage dealer, any dual wield damage dealer that's using Icy Guardian is going to be very strong, because 5,000 more damage cap for 5 SC, all we got to do is it uses your MP. So as long as you have enough MP, this is going to be quite a good skill to use on like Callum or any damage dealer really for more damage cap. So I do like this arc mostly for this skill right here, and it does have a couple of other useful skills like Holy Raid's great if you don't already have it. This one's useless, but this one is very nice for just Riser herself. It is just useful for her really, no one else really, or maybe future breaker units I suppose. Yeah, a lot of units don't touch MP, but there is one arc which does, which is this Susanu arc. Susanu, because it uses 200 MP, which is the problem with this one. So it kind of has anti-synergy with this. You're not going to be using this arc with that skill, you're going to be using Icy Guardian with that skill. I think it's going to be pretty nice, for sure. So I do consider this arc to be quite good. The trait is just for Riser, so, and this accessory just kind of whatever really. So the main selling point of this arc is definitely the learnable skills. The trait is solid, but probably only going to be used on light damage dealers and Riser. So I do consider this banner to be pretty good, but highly recommend to wait for part 2. That's always the game plan and always what you should be doing in this game. In particular is waiting for part 2, because we don't know what that's going to have. And there is Shiftlock Zeus' banner still going on right now. He is amazing. If you care about PvP, he's almost a must pull. He's that good for PvP. He's like the newest, best meta PvP unit. So if you're someone that cares about PvP, then he's your priority, because he's just so good in PvP. If you have the Xenobus arc for the learnable skills and that stuff, then he becomes amazing. So he is a very good investment and going to be a very good unit for a long time. And technically he can work with Riser because of his charisma, so it's funny that they can technically work together in the same team. You could have Zeus and Riser and Shift Lelouch. That could be a funny team. If you can fit a 4th unit in there, then fit in Spirit Man and Sarah. That would be a fun, light focused team, I think. But I'm just saying that both of these units are good. He is going to be if you care about PvP, and she is just for fun. And if you like her, that's kind of up to you. or if you don't have a light damage dealer, she probably has more priority because she's a collab unit, right? But if you care more about meta, then Logzaeus is going to have more value for current meta, that's the thing. So it's kind of up to you, really. Yeah, he's crazy good. I've been using him in my arena team as my main damage dealer and only damage dealer. He's just so good. He's crazy. And he is my newest favourite unit right now, that's why he's plus 30 and max awakening, because he's so good. And I also worked on this crest, which got, not this one, this crest got Unclad Cut, Physical and Magic. I'm still working on getting 4-star Fist boost, but hopefully eventually I'll get that. But yeah, he's crazy good, and even in PvE content he can be pretty good. Let me just show you something. Let's go to the library and show you the results from the unit damage rankings. So this is Demon Lilibet, by the way, damage rankings. Highest was 587 million, pretty solid. And then you go to Logzaeus, and you actually realise Logzaeus had higher damage than Demon Lilibet, which was kind of surprising to me. I got rank 6, 540. He did pretty damn good, I have to admit. His DPS for PvE is not bad. He's pretty good for PvE as well. So even if, you know, you don't care too much about PvP, he can still be good outside of it. Because as you can see, his DPS is not bad. It's not as good as, like, you know, Callan, Sholtir, those kind of units, but it's still very solid. And the fact that he can compare to Demon Lilibet is quite impressive, because I wasn't expecting that originally when he released, because I thought he was just gonna be a PvP focused unit, but no, he can work outside of PvP too, and I even used him in the time trials, so he's quite good overall. He can even be a support and a damage unit at the same time, because of his, you know, damage dealt and damage cap debuff for your god type allies. It's pretty damn good, so I do consider him to be quite good. Now, it's up to you of which banner to pull on right now, but collabs always have the highest priority over anything else. But if you care about meta, then Logzaeus is probably the highest meta priority, I think, if you care about that at all. But definitely wait for part 2, and we've still got another 2 weeks of Logzaeus' banner left. So by the time part 2 releases next week, Logzaeus' banner is still going to have another week left. So just wait another week, I think, and see what happens in part 2, and then take it from there. That's probably what I would recommend for everyone. That's the smartest thing to do, at least. So I'm going to be leaving it there for today. Collab, yeah, this collab in general, I think it's pretty fun. It's going to be a decent collab. I'm not that excited about it because it's not a collab that I know much about. It's not something that I, you know, play or anything like that, but I do like collabs like this. I still think it's going to be fun, and let's hope that part 2 has something interesting as well, because we don't know what she's going to have yet until next week, so let's hope that's interesting. Yeah, and he does quite a lot of damage, and he's also tanky at the same time, so pretty crazy unit. I do really like the God Judgment, but it is annoying at the same time. It's funny. But yeah. This is my newest favourite team, by the way. Logzaeus with Joshua and Spirit Maiden Sarah. Reason being, Logzaeus has his supportive buffs, right? With debuff, and then you can give Joshua Mimicry God type. So this team ends up being pretty fun. I know he can't take advantage of charisma or anything, but I just like using this team. It's pretty fun to me. I've been using this for a lot of my content right now. It's pretty good. So I'm going to leave it there for today, and add the timestamps in the next 15 minutes or so. By the way, popularity poll has ended, and the winner was Lilibet, which was interesting considering she just had a shift like not long ago for the anniversary. So she's going to be getting another shift in like 6 months or so. So wait for that. It's going to be a while because they have to design it and do all that stuff. So it's going to be quite a while before they fully design and have a kit ready. But I didn't really mind who it was going to be. I was voting for Sarah just because why not? Tweaks wanted me to, so I just voted for her. It didn't matter at the end because it's still Lilibet, but whatever. So Yeah, I think they even said in the live stream that her being a new unit heavily influenced the results, and I agree. The fact that she was the anniversary unit and the main face of the anniversary is what heavily influenced her winning. So it's a little bit biased because she was the new anniversary unit, and the popularity poll before this one, I believe she was around 17 or something. Can you even see the past rankings for popularity polls? You can. Let me just briefly show this, because I think it'll be funny. So 2024 finals results, prelims results had Sword Majoneer Lilibet was at 19 with 19,501 votes in the last one last year. And then in 2023, she had even less at 15,071 at rank 31. So that basically proves a point that the only reason she won this year, is because she was the new unit. So yeah, that's just proof that if she wasn't the new anniversary unit, she wouldn't have won, basically. But it is what it is. I'm not really complaining. I think it's fine. I didn't pull her, so I'm okay with another shift for her in like another 6 months or however long. It's gonna be a while from now, but look forward to that, I suppose. They could do anything they want with her because it's a popularity poll winner unit. And if you don't know what that means, is they can completely change the unit like they did with Lilahar. That was disappointing. But they made her a physical damage unit instead of a mage. They could do something stupid like that and make Lilibet a mage or something like that. They could do anything, really. So I'll leave it there for today. It's been about 2.5 hours, and I'll be back, Terminator style, next week on Thursday for part 2. And I'm hoping she is interesting, and I'm also hoping that she's not stupidly game-breaking, because I do want to save a good amount of crystals for the Christmas events that are coming up, because I think that's going to be fun, and I do recommend to save for that. If you haven't been around for Christmas events, then definitely try and save for that as well, because that has limited arcs and stuff that you can't get outside of Christmas. And this year in particular, Christmas is going to be a lot more interesting than normal. Just take my word for it. I highly recommend to save for Christmas this year. You'll wait and see. But yeah, next week, part 2. I'll be here for it next Thursday, and I'll add the timestamps in a moment. So yeah, I wish they didn't do Lollyhar, because that was just unfortunate. I wasn't a fan of that. I'll be back next week. Hopefully you get what you wanted in this collab. There are a couple more tickets in the login event, and there should be more in the event next week probably. So I'll see you next time. Bye.